welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are boarding a discussion about, well, a massive technological overhaul of global air travel and commerce.
We've pulled in a really fascinating stack of sources here. Everything from deep research on smart infrastructure to some pretty cutting-edge projections on autonomous shopping.
Yeah, including insights from McKinsey experts at the AWS Re.Invent 2025 conference. And our mission, really, is to synthesize all of this into one cohesive idea.
Which is how agentic AI is starting to eliminate anxiety and, all those friction points across the entire system.
Because right now, let's be honest, the modern airport experience is often just chaotic. It's frustrating, and it's defined by drag from the second you get to the curb until you finally collapse into your seat at the gate.
And maybe we should clarify what we mean by agentic AI right up front.
Good idea.
This isn't just, machine learning optimizing a database. This is AI that can autonomously perceive its environment, it can plan, and it can execute complex actions or even transactions on your behalf.
It's the engine that promises to make this whole ecosystem.
Yeah.
What's the phrase? Frictionless, automated, touchless, and personalized.
Exactly. And that promise is only so urgent because of some pretty spectacular recent failures.
You only need to look at Schiphol Airport. The CFO, Robert Garsow, he admitted that back in 2022, Schiphol had, and this is his word, collapsed under the post-pandemic surge.
He really didn't mince words. He said they were among the worst performing airports in the world.
Wow.
All because they failed to properly invest in their existing assets. So when demand came roaring back, the entire system was just exposed.
Yeah.
That was the wake-up call.
And that structural failure, it spurred this complete rethinking, one that requires years of construction, billions of euros. So let's unpack that physical challenge first.
Okay, so Schiphol itself is a unique puzzle. It's the world's oldest airport, still operating at its original 1916 location.
So they're not working with a clean slate at all.
Not even close. Garsow emphasized they're the most crowded airport in Europe per square meter.
So they're deep in what they call the brownfield dilemma.
That's right. Brownfield construction means you're trying to modernize and expand active infrastructure.
While planes are literally landing every minute.
Exactly. It is profoundly more difficult and more expensive than building on a completely new site, a greenfield. They have a backlog of assets that are just, a century old and reaching the end of their life.
And fixing it is going to cost more than €1 billion a year for the next decade.
A year. But the sources showed this is not just about pouring concrete. After that collapse, they had to redefine what services they were even responsible for.
Right, this whole un-outsourcing idea.
Yeah, they realized their failure wasn't just technical, it was strategic. They'd outsourced too many core passenger-facing jobs. So now they're taking back control of crucial services like security and passenger flows.
I think that's fascinating. The insight that even basic things like, as Garsow said, cleaning toilets, are essential for the whole passenger experience. You can't just farm that out if you want control.
It speaks volumes, but they have another massive constraint: growth. They need to get from 70 million passengers up toward 85 million.
But they can't add more flights.
Right. They're capped at around 480,000 flights a year because of noise concerns for the communities around the airport.
So more people, same number of planes.
Exactly. Which requires what's called upgauging, basically forcing airlines to use larger, denser aircraft to pack more people onto each flight.
Ah, but the old infrastructure wasn't built for that.
The problem is their gates and their loading bridges are just too small for these new jumbo planes. The CFO even said if the aircraft get much bigger, our gates will be too small and our bridges won't fit anymore.
And this is where AI starts to solve the problem today, right now, before the new concrete is even dry.
This is the really cool part. To make those bigger planes move with hyper-efficiency, Schiphol is using an AI-powered camera system. It analyzes 70, that's 70, unique events within 30 different turnaround processes.
So everything from baggage unloading to catering.
Everything, in real time. It's not just reporting a delay, it's predicting 1 second after a single step has failed. And that data is instantly shared with everyone: the airline, the ground crews, gate management. It's turning the tarmac into an AI-optimized machine.
Okay, so speaking of building for the future, let's shift over to Singapore Changi Airport. They're designing their new Terminal 5 to basically avoid all the nightmares Schiphol is living through right now.
Changi is the model for future-proof design. T5 will add capacity for 50 million more passengers, but the key is that it's built to be modular and scalable.
meaning they can expand or shrink parts of it based on what the future holds.
Exactly. It's a direct lesson from the unpredictability of the pandemic, and crucially, they're designing for resilience.
I saw this. The new airfield for T5 is being elevated 5.5 meters above sea level.
Which is a huge undertaking, but it future-proofs them against climate risks like coastal flooding. That kind of thinking is now a basic design requirement.
But for you, the passenger, the most immediate change is just this frictionless journey. The consensus in all the research is that biometrics are completely replacing physical documents.
Your face becomes your digital ID for everything.
A total walkthrough experience.
Yep. Changi already has passportless travel at their autogates.
Yeah.
And they're trialing AI and security screening that's shown it can reduce screening times by up to 50%. You keep walking.
And your identity clears you for check-in, security, even boarding the plane.
And that leads to this hyper-personalized terminal. The digital signs, they aren't static anymore. They recognize you as you approach.
So it might show you information in your preferred language.
In Finnish and Mandarin, whatever you need, and it gives you tailored directions based on your specific gait and how much time you have.
The retail experience is getting intelligent too. I read that store offerings could be tailored to the passenger mix of an incoming flight.
It's incredible. So say a flight from a region with different electrical outlets is landing. The local shops can automatically stock and highlight the specific plug adapters those travelers probably forgot.
That's the agentic capability, right? Anticipating a need before you even realize you have it.
It's all about minimizing your cognitive load. Changi gets that for a terminal that huge. They want T5 to feel mega yet cozy. It has to serve totally different human needs. The road warrior versus, the multi-generational family.
And that focus on the human side brings us to the operations below the wing. This is where everything has to become automated to meet those tight turnaround times we were talking about.
Right, this is where you see heavy robotics taking over the tarmac. We're talking autonomous vehicles for baggage, for passenger shuttles. Changi's even trialing automated docking for the passenger loading bridges.
Taking high-risk, precision tasks away from humans.
And it creates resilience. The detail about the baggage robotics at Changi was really compelling. They use them specifically to keep bags moving during, say, a lightning strike.
Oh, when the human ground crews have to stop work for safety.
Exactly. The robots just keep going. The flow is maintained. The ultimate vision is what Schiphol's leadership called the autonomous airport that runs like a machine, just steered by massive data pools.
Which leads to the really radical future scenarios. Urban air mobility, eVTOls.
Electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. Basically autonomous air taxis.
And this creates a huge challenge for the $5 trillion infrastructure we've been describing. Because if eVTOLs deliver on their promise, they could let you bypass the terminal almost entirely.
The vision is pretty wild. An eVTOL picks you up near your home, flies you directly to the secure air side of the airport.
And you board your plane 10 minutes before departure, having never set foot in the actual airport building.
Which completely disrupts the traditional airport business model. Suddenly, the terminal, the commercial hub, becomes less relevant.
But airports aren't giving up that role. Their response is the airport city concept, transforming the facility from, a bus stop into a full-on commercial destination.
That's Changi's countermove. They're building hotels, offices, medical clinics, event spaces, all designed to appeal to local residents and businesses who aren't even flying that day.
It's a battle, then, between the ultimate streamlining of travel and the ultimate expansion of the airport's commercial footprint. Okay, let's broaden the lens. Because this whole process redesign is mirrored in the wider economy. The same agentic AI is reshaping how we buy things.
Which brings us to agentic commerce. This is the next level of e-commerce. It's where AI agents go beyond just recommending products.
They start autonomously shopping, negotiating prices, executing transactions for you.
Exactly. Imagine your agent monitoring flight prices, securing car maintenance appointments, ordering groceries when you're running low all without you lifting a finger.
The scale of this is just staggering. The projected global revenue is somewhere between $3 and $5 trillion by 2030.
The U.S. retail market alone could see $1 trillion in revenue orchestrated by these agents.
And that forces us to ask the big economic question about AI. If the tech is this transformative, why isn't aggregate productivity just booming?
It's the modern version of the productivity paradox of IT, which was first identified decades ago by Eric Brynjolfsson.
And the core idea of the paradox, as the sources all point out, is that when a truly foundational technology like AI arrives, you get this lag, a lag in measurable productivity gains, even while investment is huge.
Right. You can't just plug in the AI and expect instant results. The lag happens because companies first have to build the data infrastructure. They have to completely redesign their core processes.
Just like Schiphol had to rethink its entire operation.
Exactly. And you have to retrain your workers. Until all that foundational work is done, the huge investments just don't show up in the macro data.
And we are clearly deep in that lag phase right now.
Mhm.
The MIT study and the research was so striking. Currently, 95% of generative AI projects are producing zero measurable return.
That is a sobering number. It really underlines the argument from economist Daron Acemoglu. He cautions that current AI development is too narrowly focused on products that just automate white-collar tasks.
Instead of building tools that actually help workers in the biggest sectors, like on a factory floor or in complex logistics.
Right. The key to unlocking that multi-trillion-dollar productivity boost isn't just cutting costs by replacing people. It's using the tech to give people entirely new capabilities.
So augmentation, not just replacement.
Precisely. Think about those ground crews again. Replacement is firing 10 people and buying 2 robots. Augmentations is equipping a crew of 10 with AI agents that predict component failures on the plane before they happen and give them instant advice on how to fix it. That's the change that resolves the paradox.
This has been a really comprehensive deep dive, from the century-old foundations of Schiphol to a $5 trillion future economy. For you, the listener, the key takeaway is that we're moving toward a predictable, personalized, hyper-efficient travel ecosystem.
But that efficiency is only achievable because of, well, massive, painful capital investment and this AI-driven precision that's needed to rewrite the whole rulebook.
And through all of this tech, there's this human-centric mandate. Changi's Lin-Ching Kiat had the perfect summary. He said, technology is just a skin, and the most important thing is being customer-centric.
That sentiment is so critical. The tech has to serve the human need. We saw this in that design debate they had. Should a jet-lagged passenger get flight info pushed to their phone? Or would they rather just look up at a big, simple information board?
Right. The decision isn't based on what the AI can do, but on what a tired, stressed-out human actually needs in that moment.
And that enduring focus on human needs brings us to a final thought for you to consider. As we see the rise of eVTOLs and this push for a completely automated, seamless journey, if all the anxiety, all the friction is successfully removed from the airport experience, what part of that travel process, that transition between places, remains so essentially human that it should never be fully automated?